Hello Eurovision friends, thank you so much for coming to my channel. Today the 8 songs competing in the Danish National Final Dansk Melodi Grand Prix for Eurovision 2024 were revealed, and in this video I want to tell you what I think of the songs. I made a personal ranking of the songs, and then later on in the video I will also let you know who I think Denmark should send to Eurovision. You see the question right there, because sometimes objectively another song might be better than what I subjectively think is the best song for Eurovision. Now, Denmark has been in a bit of trouble recently. The last 3 years, they have not managed to qualify to the final. And I think there's a bit of a reason for it. And you can also see that in the national final. Other Nordic countries like Sweden, Norway, Finland, but also Iceland have been much more successful than Denmark. So they're kind of the black sheep in a way when it comes to success, at least in the Nordic countries at Eurovision. And I'll let you know a little bit while discussing the songs why I think that is. Let's go through them. In 8th position, my personal ranking, I have UBLU. I think it's a spacey song. It sounds a bit like 90s, early 2000s pop songs. It's a schlagery techno song, but that isn't necessarily a good thing, that it sounds a bit like the 90s and early 2000s, because it doesn't really sound like a good song from that period. Sorry about that. It also doesn't really have a great chorus, in my opinion, because I basically cannot remember it right now. And it kind of seems like they're trying to be Keno from Norway a little bit, but they're just not quite getting there. So that's why it's my number 8. My 7th position is Choo Choo with the Chase Zoom Zoom. It sounds kind of like Nicki Minaj in some parts, but then there are parts that sound like a generic, bland pop song. Then there's this techno beat at times. And these are just 3 things I don't really like, to be honest, so it's not for me. But all in all, I also think that it feels like the different parts of the song aren't really coming together. I think there's a point in that a little bit. She kind of stops the song and says, let's try it without the drums or something like that. But to me, it just feels way too disjointed and just also isn't my cup of tea, really. By the way, let me just say that it was quite hard to rank these songs, actually. Usually it's rather easy, at least to find my favorite also. But in this case, for Denmark, they have just so many radio pop mainstream entries in this national final. Basically, all of the entries are mainstream radio pop songs. And all of them have something that I like. Well, most of them have something that I like, but all of them have also a part that kind of annoys me or that I would have done differently. And so it was quite hard to find a ranking because they're all same-ish to me, but I tried my best. And I wanted to say that before revealing my number 6, because I do think that it's a good song. I think it's a fan favorite at the moment. And I do understand why. It has a very good verse. There's kind of a darkish atmosphere to it. In parts, it kind of reminds me almost of Lorene's Statements, which is a great comparison because I love that song. But then when the chorus kicks in, it is just a bit bland and just very repetitive as well. Ooh, and then she sings, I can feel you slipping through my hands. I guess we build a castle out of sand. That's just the kinds of lyrics that I really don't like because they're quite trite in a way. And then she also repeats sand over and over and over again. So there is a lot of good bases and something to make a good song out of, but repeating sand so many times just annoys me a little bit, unfortunately. Sorry. And that is why it is my number 6. And it's kind of similar for the next one. Number 5 is Stella with Sign Here. I think she has a very interesting look. I think she's an interesting artist as well. She says that she's ultra introvert, which I like. And the song is about going away from the countryside, moving to the city to pursue your music career in this case, and just having to grow up. And so the song is about having to sign things. That's why it's called Sign Here. And if you're an adult, and I guess most of you are, you know that you do have to sign a lot of things, especially in bureaucratic countries, which maybe Denmark is as well. And maybe it's also about the music industry, because she keeps repeating, all you gotta do is sign here. Maybe they told her, sign here and you'll have a great career. The thing with this is, the song has a schlagery beginning. It is a good enough pop song, but it is very, very, very repetitive. She kind of breaks the rule of 3 that says that you cannot repeat the same thing 3 times in a piece of music without your audience getting a bit nervous in a way. And that is what is happening to me here, because she keeps repeating, all you got to do, all you got to do, all you got to do is sign here, is sign here, is sign here. And that's just too repetitive for me. I'm really sorry, but that takes me out of the song. Otherwise, it could have gone much, much higher in my ranking. Now, in 4th place, I have a former Eurovision star, and maybe future Eurovision star, actually. Basim sings his song Johnny. It's an okay pop song, a bit on the repetitive side for me. I do like that there are some vocal moments where it almost sounds Arabic Oriental. That's really nice. But what really caught my attention with this song are the lyrics. He sings that he's in a hospice where his dad is also staying, and he meets Johnny, who's about to die, and he tells him basically what he would have done differently in his life, basically putting himself first, not thinking about what other people are thinking. And the chorus of the song asks, why do people only bring you flowers when you're already in a hospital bed and about to die? And then it also talks about Johnny being an alcoholic and stuff like that. The problem I have, because usually I really, really like songs that have a story. I like American country music, for example, that also does this, the storytelling part. But the problem I have a bit with the lyrics is that they're very on the nose and very, very direct. Like one time he sings, now he is gonna die, rest in power. Like there's a more poetic way to put that. And that is why the song is number 4, even though, and also the repetitiveness, even though I do like a song that does tell a story. Now, in 3rd place, I have Aura Dione. She's probably the most, not probably, she's the most established artist in this lineup. She had a few huge hits 10 years ago. Geronimo and I Will Love You Monday were #1 hits here in Germany, for example. So she will be known to some people, but her career in the last couple of years hasn't been as successful as back then. I do like her voice in this, the inflections she does. There's a bit of vocal fry as well, and that's really cool. The song does sound a bit like a demo to me, like it's not finished. The production isn't finished in a way. I do like that there's a lot of variation, a lot of things going on. It's not too repetitive, and it kind of reminds me of Emily de Forest a little bit, a song about nature, because of I wrote down the yodeling part in the chorus, but that is also one of my criticisms with this song. The yodeling part, this loud part in the chorus, is just a bit too much for me and kind of gets annoying, gets on my nerve after a while. Overall, the song has good lyrics, but it's on the border to being virtue signaling. Like she sings, speak your mind, show your true powers. The pain is real. I sing for the ones that have no choice. Yes, but again, a bit of poetry missing here. And I also feel like you could see it a bit as virtue signaling. And so the lyrics for me border a bit on cringe. Sorry about that. And so overall, I think it's a good pop song. I think it will find a lot of fans, especially in the Eurovision fandom. But to me, the lyrics and just the yodeling, for lack of a better word, is just a bit too much for me. Then in 2nd place, I have Rosa Lu. She has a very interesting and cool vocal tone, I think. She sounds really, really young, and she also looks really young. She says she's 22 years old. I guess that's true. But the song has a summery vibe, which is nice. But overall, it's a standard pop song. The fact that it's #2, I was really unsure about where to put it. Actually, I had it below Aura Dione and also below Basim. But then I thought, well, but these two songs have something that annoys me a little bit. So I put her 2nd, but it's not a song that makes me incredibly excited either. I think the chorus, unfortunately, is a bit bland as well. And just the fact that I put this 2nd, even though I say all of these things, shows you that Denmark kind of has a problem in its national final, in that it has too many radio pop mainstream entries that all of kind of blend together. And then in 1st place, kind of by default, actually, I have Janus Winberg, who sings I Need Your Love. Like, it's a Danish national final. There isn't one song in Danish. This one he sings about an avenue, Faro Avenue. Why can't he take, for example, a street in Copenhagen to make it at least a little bit Danish? The song is about wanting another person to come back. I need your love. But in some parts of the song, I feel like he could express this with a bit more emotion and a bit more verve. Like if you really want to win someone back, you might have to put more emotion into it all. I do, and this is why it's my number one, think that he has a very good voice in parts, especially in the chorus. He reminds me of Dermot Kennedy, whom I like very, very much. There's a lot of rasp and almost a growl in his vocals. It is radio pop, obviously. It's a sad boy ballad being sung in English, something that Switzerland might have sent maybe. But I do think that the verses have a good beat. It is good for what it is, but I also think that kind of the break is on a little bit. Like when you have a song that is about winning someone back, growl a bit more, put more emotion into it. And another reason why it's number one is that he can still do that in the live version. So I kind of hope that he loosens the break a little bit and just puts more emotion into the song. That is my personal top 8, my subjective opinion. So having a song 8 doesn't mean that it's a bad song. It just means that it doesn't speak to me personally. But now I want to try to be a bit more objective and let you know who I think Denmark should send to Eurovision to do well in the competition. Now, I think that everything that I have said about my own country and that I've criticized about my own country is also true for Denmark. There's no Danish in this national selection. There's a lot of radio pop, and there are a lot of songs that I think would go under in a sea of mainstream radio pop entries in a Eurovision Song Contest, semi-final or final, because Denmark, of course, has to qualify first to then even be heard by the jury members. And it's a bit difficult to find a song here that really has a great chance to do really well at Eurovision. Let's go through them a bit. I think UBLU is just too old-fashioned. I think neither jury nor televote would go for this. Choo Choo. This could work for the televote, and this might help Denmark qualify possibly, because I do think that she will have a bit of a crazy stage show as well. But for a jury, if it does make it to the final, I think it's just too disjointed. SABA could work, maybe, not sure. Stella, if she does have the personality that I see in the image that we have, might work as well. Basim, at least the song tells a story that could make it stand out a bit in Eurovision, where songs sometimes don't really have a story. But the song is just not good enough for me, I think. And then Aura, I do think that she is probably the best choice for Eurovision in the selection, because the song has a lot of variation, has a few different hooks. She also might have a bit of name recognition if she makes it to the final with the jury members, which might help Denmark gain a few more points. And so I think I would send Aura to Eurovision if I were Denmark, because for my top 2, Lo Salut, it's an okay song, but it wouldn't stand out. And for Janus Winberg, I'm not sure that it would actually convince enough televoters to make it out of a semi-final, because he could get a lot of jury votes, I think, for his very good voice. But in the end, you have to qualify from a semi-final, and there it might just be a bit too mellow also. So my final verdict would be to send our Dione to Eurovision. Let me know what you think in the comments. What is your top 8, and who do you think Denmark should send to the Eurovision Song Contest? Please subscribe to my channel. I'll do this for the Serbian National Final very soon. Lots of things coming up in the next couple of weeks. I will do lyric interpretations, rankings, predictions. So if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.